Hi everyone! Today I am going to walk through the early alert process and discuss how faculty or staff can issue an alert, as well as how the alert is processed and resolved, and what to do if an alert is delegated to you. I would like to note before we get started that this is just phase 1 of the early alert system. We wanted to launch this during summer 2, that way we could all get practice with it during a slower term and learn the functionality. The Navigate system is still in the early stages of the launch, so we have the ability to add, remove, or change any information as we approach fall. For the most part, almost all alerts will be routed to the retention coordinator, who for the time being will be Reynard and Tony. However, I wanted to be sure everyone had a chance to view the process just in case you have to utilize it. Keep in mind you will have ongoing support with this, so if you don't feel you have a strong grasp on the concept after this video, that is okay. Please feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns as you're going through this. So let's get started. First, we're going to walk through how faculty and staff issue an alert. So let's say I am a professor and I notice that a student is taking one of my classes but is constantly having attendance issues. First, I would start by logging into my Navigate site. So you'll see this is my homepage. Yours may look slightly different based off of your permissions. However, I am going to go up to the top quick search and look up the student in which I have a concern. So that would be, in this case, Jill McNutt. This is a student of mine who is missing classes this semester. So I would click on the student, and it is going to take me to the student's profile. From here, I can see basic information on the student, whether that be their GPA, the amount of credits they're taking, different things like that. However, I am going to go to the right and issue an alert. So I'll click on Issue an Alert, and then next to this, please select a reason for this alert. A drop-down is going to be created. So, as you can see, a list pulls up. These could be positive, negative, or neutral reasons. So whether that be the student is having an attendance concern, they need tutorial services, they just need to be referred to disability services, or even you just want to issue a positive alert on a student, you could go down and select that the student is excelling in the course and you want that kudos to be recognized. So for this case, I'm going to make it an attendance issue. You could also, if you wanted to issue an alert on multiple things, you could also say the student is at risk of course failure. You could say they have basic needs that may be unmet, whatever it might be. You can issue multiple alerts at one time on this student. For this case, like I said, we are just going to use attendance. Then I could pick the class that this student is having an attendance issue in. The student we're using as an example isn't a real student here, so they're not enrolled in any classes. However, let's say they were taking Math 110, you could select Math 110 for the drop-down. From there, I could then just add any comments I have on this student. So let's say Jill has missed 4 classes in the first 3 weeks, or whatever it might be. You can also add, so if you have multiple reasons, make sure you put comments in for all of them. So you could put and is at risk of course failure, or any sort of thing that you might want to add in to give whoever gets assigned this case a little bit of background information before they reach out. So when a case is assigned to someone, it's automatically assigned to the appropriate people. If you have any questions on who that might be or which alerts build cases, you can review the one-pager included in David's email. However, for this specific case, it would go to that retention coordinator. So I would just hit submit here. And then you'll notice that the alert is being issued. From there, if you are the professor or the staff member who issued this alert, your job is actually done. However, if you are the person that the case is assigned to, you'll actually receive an email. So this email is going to look something similar to this. So It'll say a case has been assigned to you. It'll give you the student, the alert reason, and who the alert was issued by. And then you can click into view case details. However, if you want to find it by going through your Navigate site, you can also go back to your home page, and you can see on the left here there is a button that says Cases. When you click on Cases, you can actually see anything that has been assigned to you. Those cases are going to appear here. Now, there's a couple things you can do once a case is assigned to you. So you could first click on the student's name, and that's going to bring you back to that student profile that you had seen earlier. So it'll give you all that basic student information. You can look through their history, their course info, what their academic plan is, or you can scroll down, and on the right side here there's a student info drop down, and you can see the student's contact information. So you can see their email, you can see their cell phone number. These would be great ways to figure out how to reach out to this student. You could also see who their success team is, so who their academic advisor is, different things like that. Or if you want to reach out directly through the Navigate site, you could also hit this message student here, and it will allow you to send an email to the student or send a text message. So you can click there and it will automatically route it that way. When you're creating these communications through the Navigate site, it'll actually be going to your messages here. So that way it's all staying in one spot and it can pretty consistently be tracked. You could also then go back to your cases and you can manage your case. So if you go to the right, you'll click on Manage Case and you'll see this screen pop up. So at the bottom, you'll see any case activity that has happened. So you'll see who opened the case. So in that case, it was me. And I opened the case and added the comment that Jill has missed 4 classes in the first 3 weeks. So for this specific case, like I had said, it gets assigned to the retention coordinator, or for now, the interim, Reynard and Tony. So let's say Tony has reached out to this student and has realized that the attendance issue is actually related to transportation. So she could then go in here and let's say I am somebody who can help with transportation. So she could then go in here and assign the case to me and then add a comment here and say, spoke to Jill on the phone. The attendance issue is due to transportation. She could then add that comment, and then she could just save her changes. And if I am then the person who gets assigned this case, so it was delegated to me, I would then get an email. So just similar to the other one, I would get an email that says the case was assigned to me, who the student was, and I could view those details. So then when I go into it, I can log into that case, and all of these steps at the bottom would still pop up, including why she may be assigning it to me. So let's say I have figured out the transportation issue, and now I want to close this case because I have been able to settle it. I figured out the transportation issue for Jill, and then I'm going to close the case, and I'm going to choose a reason. If Tony was to have reached out to that student and was unable to contact them at all, couldn't get a hold of them, she could just click this. If she contacted them and the student declined any recommended support, she could choose that. Or she could just choose something like student was contacted and took appropriate action. So since I'm the person who was helping with transportation and I know it's all settled now, I would just hit this student was contacted and took appropriate action and say, I have worked together with Jill to resolve all transportation issues. And then I could hit submit, and it would officially close this case. Going back to whoever that professor was who issued the case, they can actually get an email, and in that email it would just say that the case had been resolved, and it would tell them the reason. It wouldn't give you all those steps, so it's not like they're going to see all the notes on the case. They would just see student has been contacted and it has been resolved, or couldn't get a hold of the student. Whatever that reason would be, that's what they would see. They wouldn't see all your additional notes. So that is pretty much the process. So if you wanted to go back to some of your closed cases, you can do that here in the status dropdown. So you can look at your open one or your closed ones, and then hit search, and it would pull up any closed cases you may have, and you could go back in and look at that case. However, that's all we have to go over today. You can post any questions you may have in the chat room, and we'll continue to provide ongoing support. Again, we won't see a lot of these alerts to start, especially with it being summer too, so you'll have time to learn the system and get acquainted. Thank you for watching this session, and let us know if you have any questions.